Good morning. Welcome to your program Agenda here on Cignal TV's One News, Channels 8 and 250. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, welcoming you to the program on this day, November 9, 2023. It's a Thursday. We pray and wish that all of you are well and that you are looking forward to this day. For our topic for today, we will have a double header. We will be speaking to two individuals. Our first interview will be all about sleeper cells. Okay, in case you never caught the news because it was muted or it didn't really catch a lot of traction, there was a raid by the Philippine National Police last month. And it was done in a private village where they arrested several Chinese nationals and reportedly confiscated certain weapons. And so one of the individuals is supposed to be a member of a sleeper cell, or at least that's the allegation. So we're going to discuss sleeper cells. Are there military units hiding in plain sight in the Philippines? Why should we be concerned with this possibility? And on the second part of the program, we will be talking about we will be talking with our guest who is promoting cashless transactions, particularly in public utility vehicles. But first, allow me to say thank you to all of you who are Cignal TV subscribers. Maraming salamat po. Your support keeps us on the air, gives us reason to work harder every day. And we do hope that you enjoy all of the programs and features and promotions that Cignal TV offers to its many subscribers. In the meantime, we would also like to thank PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet. Hindi po ito paid commercial. I just really believe in PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet because everywhere I go, basta may PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet, I can do my program, and that makes me a happy camper. Anyway, thank you to all of you who catch us via Facebook, YouTube, and on the Cignal Play app. Let's now go to our daily starter. And I picked it up on social media, on Facebook, or what is it called now? Meta. And our daily starter, Gab, if you would. We don't walk away to teach people a lesson. We walk away because we finally learned ours. Okay, so there are people who just walk out because they don't like to carry on a conversation. But there's a difference between walking out of an argument or just, getting out of the way. But when we walk away from people, from situations, relationships, or engagements, it is usually not to teach them a lesson. Tuturuan kita ng leksyon, lalayasan kita. No. The people who are sober and rational, they walk away because they have finally learned their lesson that this is a hopeless cause, a pointless situation, and so they just walk away. Okay, now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star for a quick review of the news. And the headline for today, it's still about confidential funds. I don't know why, but the Senate removes OVP DepEd secret funds. Other civilian agencies affected. And now there's a question mark. Who exactly will be affected if this confidential intelligence funds are removed? And how will it affect our situation? Perhaps we can also discuss that with our guest today. Meanwhile, 40 Filipinos exit Gaza, now safe in Egypt. So naka-backdoor sila. And according to PNP, remain firm united amid destabilization talk, because this was started recently by General Browner of the AFP, and now it has become the talking points of the uniformed personnel. Meron ba talagang destabilization? We will also pick that up with our guest this morning. The big photo on the front page of the Philippine Star: groups under the umbrella network of people rising for climate justice protest along the Menjola, or now called Chino Roses Bridge in Manila, to mark the 10th anniversary of Super Typhoon Yolanda. Below that, there is a photo of the President, Bongbong Marcos, Speaker of the House, Martin Romualdez, Tacloban Mayor, Alfred Romualdez, and I believe, Special Assistant to the President, Anton Lagdameo, and DILG Secretary Benhar Abalos, all praying, attending Mass in Tacloban. Inset, of upper photo that, you see that young lady in white and blue with a red bag. She is a survivor of Yolanda, named Nene Natividad, who lost her 6 children during Typhoon Yolanda. Meanwhile, the president has ordered fast-track relocation of Yolanda survivors. Oh my God, only in the Philippines. We are now on our 3rd president, and we are still talking about relocating Yolanda survivors. Meanwhile, going back to the politics of things, GMA maintains support for Romualdez in spite or despite her ouster as House Deputy Speaker. Former President and Pampanga Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo has expressed what she describes as continuous support for the leadership of Speaker Martin Romualdez, and pointed out that if the Speaker believes all the intrigues and misinformation reported to him regarding GMA, she cannot do anything about it. Meanwhile, most Pinoys want stronger economic ties with US, Japan, according to a recent Pulse Asia survey. And the lower photo of the Philippine Star: all that glitters is grand. The festive season is officially open to guests, clients, and partners as Grand Hyatt Manila held its annual tree lighting ceremony, showcasing Jose Marichan singing the classic Christmas in our hearts. Okay. Meanwhile, last but not the least, and the sad news, jobless Filipinos rise to 4.5% in September. So there you go. That's the news on the front page of the Philippine Star. We'll go for a quick break. And when we come back, let's talk about destabilization, sleeper cells, confidential intelligence fund, with someone who's seen it all and been in it all. We'll be right back here on Agenda.
former Interior Secretary Raffy Alunan raised concerns over the alleged sleeper cell near the police and army camp in Quezon City. In his post, Alunan claimed the 6 Chinese nationals arrested in Pasig on October 16 were part of China's groups of clandestine agents waiting for orders to attack our forces. That's why he's pushing for the government to clean up its internal security breaches. Not doing anything about it now is stupidly suicidal, Alunan wrote. The Philippine National Police or PNP has yet to confirm if these sleeper cells actually exist, but they are not yet shutting down Alunan's reports, which PNP Chief Benjamin Nacorda deemed alarming. China has already denied these allegations, saying Alunan's claims are just groundless accusations. How can the government improve its security against potential attacks from foreign countries? Let's discuss this on today's agenda.
Raffy Alunan III is a former Interior Secretary under the administration of former President Fidel V. Ramos. Before this, he was the Tourism Secretary of former President Corazon Aquino. Alunan was also the former chairman of the Philippine Council for Foreign Relations.
Good morning, Secretary Raffy Alunan. Welcome to the program agenda.
Good morning, Cito. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Okay, we might have missed a portion in that introduction. Aside from being a former Secretary of Tourism and DILG, you became very prominent at one point for being the escort of hostage tourists at the Manila Peninsula during the coup d'etat years. And that is what earned you as someone who had cojones, because no one had the guts to do it, but you volunteered to face up with the coup plotters. Now, speaking of coups, there's this conversation, rumors, allegations that there are destabilization plots. Let's begin the program with that. What's your reaction to all of this? Is this because some of my sources said, Cito, that all started from the pension issue of the military and uniformed personnel complaining about their pension and the plan of the DOF to make them pay their share. Now, my PNP source said, well, it became a saber-rattling situation, and once the pensions were paid, everybody kept quiet. What are your sources telling you?
Not much, really. As far as I know, most of them are confident that the situation is very much under control. That people are free to ventilate their sentiments. They may talk about it, but if there's an actual plan or plot, that's a different story. As it is right now, it's all talk. So basically, what they're saying is nothing to worry about yet.
Mm-hmm. But is it a good idea, Secretary, for people like the Chief PNP, the Chief of Staff of the AFP, to be even discussing this in public or making pronouncements about it? It's like people are now, we weren't talking about this until they started talking about it.
Well, that's true, but there's also it's also one tactic to, let's say, diffuse any situation that may be developing, and by preempting through such an announcement. No? But they were very careful about their words. They weren't saying that there was an active coup plot, but that there were destabilization efforts. So those are two different things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now going back to the main topic for today, regarding sleeper cells. You wrote an article about sleeper cells. You were, I think, the first to post this on Facebook about the raid that was conducted. And if I remember correctly, you posted that there were automatic weapons confiscated and patches, etc. Now, what was the real story?
Well, I just picked that up in social media, actually, online. It was a report by this group called Billionario. So basically, my information came from media. And I use that as a springboard to talk about the fears of ordinary citizens about the proliferation of mainland Chinese in the Philippines, particularly pogos. And for years, even before COVID, pogos were already a major concern for security analysts because there have been reports as well as pictures indicating what do you call this? The existence of pogo centers very near military camps, for example. Why are they situated near military camps? The best example that they give is the one in Cavite, the one beside Sangli Point. I think that island there used to be a resort.
Covlandia. It used to be Covlandia owned by the Remullas.
Okay, or Island Cove. I think it was known as Island Cove before.
Mm.
All right. In any case, that has since been taken over by Pogos, the entire island. And it's only 2 miles away from Sangli. Now, the significance about that island is that based on the pictures, the structures there, these are buildings that are being constructed, can house an estimated number of between 20,000 to 50,000 people. That is very alarming because in the past, pogos have been pinpointed as a potential national security risk whereby infiltrators or moles would be inserted. And pogos, as you know, are banned in China because they're involved in capital flight operations and as well as money laundering. But you know that money laundering here in the Philippines could also buy the influence of politicians, could buy the influence of media, could buy the influence of uniformed personnel, for that matter, even local government as well as judicial and legislative authorities. When one gets to connect all of the dots and with an understanding of how China has been conducting its affairs in the region through what they themselves have developed as a playbook, which is called unrestricted warfare. One can see the pattern. One can begin to appreciate the fact that the conduct of unrestricted warfare in the Philippines is alive and well and being conducted by the Chinese, and specifically the Communist Party of China and the People's Liberation Army, where they buy influence, they smuggle in people for undetermined missions. But one can imagine, why would you smuggle in people in a neighboring country that has a mutual defense treaty with the United States? There's got to be something there. It cannot be innocent. So, from the standpoint of from my standpoint as an analyst, my assessment is that that particular incident that was reported by Billionario may not be an isolated incident. So I raised the question in my paper. I said, how many of these kinds of cells are there in the Philippines? We don't know. That's where the government has to come in. The intelligence authorities, of course, cannot report that publicly as they're operating. But it's a rhetorical question for the authorities to actually focus on if some of them are still not aware of the situation. I know that the president has the right mindset, is quite aware of the problem. But I don't know whether the rest of government are in lockstep with him, have the same mindset. And that poses a problem because if this is a clear and present, if this poses a clear and present danger to national security, it's important that the Philippines, the president, the national leadership has the whole of government behind them.
Are you convinced that there is whole of government attention being given to this concern? Because a few months ago, former U.S. Ambassador Babes Romualdez, about 2 months ago, pointed out and shared in, I think in his column or in a news conference, he said that according to his U.S. sources, intelligence sources, most of the Philippine institutions, government offices, are very vulnerable to computer attacks, hacking, etc. 1 month later, everything happened. It's been a domino effect of one government office after another being victims of attempted and successful cyber attacks. Now, then you're talking about this sleeper cell. It seemed like the initial response was, oh no, they were just Chinese guys with Filipino bodyguards who had machine guns or assault rifles, and the patches that they had were from a paint war booth, etc. I found it honestly ridiculous that a serious raid like that is just being now dismissed as, yung mga patch, hindi naman People's Liberation Army, nakuha lang yan doon sa mga paintball arcades.
Yes, yes, Cito. Actually, the information did not come from the Americans. So the information that the Americans are using to express their concern come from Filipinos, and because they're here, they're listening, they're watching, and my information comes from my own personal observation and from reports by media, comments from national security officials of the government that are reported by media, and comments and observations from ordinary folk, like, for example, residents of gated subdivisions. They're openly talking about how mainland Chinese have taken residents in their areas, and some of them have been caught producing shabu in their residences. And then there are reports of houses housing POGO workers of up to 25 persons per house, no, which is against homeowner association rules. And so you begin to wonder what's going on. Why are they doing this? It's important for media and people like me who are observing these things to raise the question in public, so that situational awareness is quite important for the public, so that when the government tries to mobilize the whole of government and the whole of society for a whole of nation approach to national security, people are situationally aware. It's very hard to mobilize society when they're unaware of what's going on.
Okay. Secretary, I'm just wondering, you've been in government, you've been under, I think, 2, if not 3 administrations. Now, do we have the facilities, the capability? Do we even have a dedicated unit looking into this? Everybody talks about national security this, national security that, but I kind of wonder who's on top of this particular concern.
Well, definitely the National Security Council, and to which the intelligence community of the uniformed services report to. And that would be under the Office of the National Security Advisor, who reports directly to the President as the Commander-in-Chief. Question to ask is, has the intelligence community been provided the resources all these years to do its job? Have the armed forces and the Philippine National Police been given the resources to do their job, to protect the people and to uphold the integrity of the country? Question, I think, lands at the footsteps of Congress, because for many, many, many years, since 1995, from the time that the Chinese took over mischief reef in our EEZ. The financial support given to our armed forces and the Philippine National Police have fallen short of the norm. The minimum threshold, the international minimum threshold is about 2% of GDP for the defense for the national security, for national security operations and the defense of the country. But we have been underspending all these years, averaging only around 1% or even less. So I think the question that question, Cito, should best be presented to the legislature. Now, I'm also aware that, for example, Senate President Mig Subiri is very, very situationally aware, right? But you know, passing the budget requires Congress, the lower house, to look into this. And many times we have heard the complaint, the observation, the persistent observation and complaint that the money needed for national security is going to purposes other than national security. A lot of it is frittered away by corruption. A lot of it is going to, shall we say, pork barrel. And, you know, the accumulated deprivation of funds to the armed forces has provided telling consequences to our national security situation. And so it's important for media to voice out this very alarming situation because my analysis, Cito, is that it's only a matter of maybe a year or two before the great powers fight each other in the West Philippine Sea or in the South China Sea. This is not between China and the Philippines. We're just a sideshow. This is between U.S. and China, and we will be drawn into that whether we like it or not because of the Mutual Defense Treaty. And my advocacy is, given all of this, we need to prepare for this. Not just our national defense preparedness that's important. It's also civil defense preparedness. The Taiwanese are already preparing for the worst case scenario. We should be doing the same thing, in case the slugfest between the U.S. and China spills over into the Philippines. So we need to stockpile food. We need to stockpile medicines. We need to stockpile water. We need to stockpile arms and ammunition because we don't manufacture them.
Apparently right now, members of Congress are stockpiling political alliances and not national security concern. But let's go for a quick break, Secretary, and when we return, let's carry on with this conversation about preparing for the slugfest between China and the U.S. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda. And with us is former DILG Secretary, former Tourism Secretary, Raffy Alunan. Sir Raffy, let's carry on with the conversation. You're concerned that we are not even thinking of preparing or awareness regarding the conflict in the West Philippine Sea. Now, is it too late or can we still catch up? Can we do something? Because you raised the alarm on sleeper cells. As far as that issue is concerned, what should be done? Should we conduct sweepers? Should we start calling out the Chinese embassy, etc.? Or should members of Congress call the Bureau of Immigration to task? What should be done?
Well, Cito, but first of all, I'm not just raising the alarm about sleeper cells. Basically, I'm raising the alarm about China's use of unrestricted warfare tactics against the Philippines. No? Political influence operations is one of them. Human smuggling, to include this infiltration of moles and potential sleeper cells, is another. These are just all components of the unrestricted warfare that's being waged against us. That includes information warfare, diplomatic warfare, legal warfare, and cyber warfare. No? Because we've been hacked so many times and we don't really have the proper defenses for it. But come to think of it, China's been very good at that because, and also Russia, because even the White House, the CIA, the NSA, they've been hacked. They've been hacked. So, but we know we have very good talents also. We can do the same thing. It's just that we haven't focused our attention on this. It's only now that I'm beginning to hear that we are forming cyber warfare units in the armed forces to address this problem. But you know, to your point, the reason why civil defense preparedness is not top of mind is because it's still politics. A clear present danger is already presenting itself before us, but we're still focused on politics. And for as long as the shared consciousness of Filipinos is focused on politics, we'll never get our national security agenda going, which is national defense preparedness and civil defense preparedness. Malapit na yung sa tingin ng mga security analysts globally, American, Japanese, Australian, etc., pati India, malapit na yung labanan between the US and China. Kaya lang, hindi lang masigurado yung hindi lang ma-pinpoint yung exact timeline. Pero sa kanilang banta, sa kanilang estimate, it's as early as 2025. No? The range is between 2025 to 2027. Dati, they were thinking of 2030, pero in advance na because of the behavior of China. Ang basis nila for all of these assessments is kung ano bang ginagawa ng China, hindi yung sinasabi ng China. Kasi yung sinasabi ng China, iba sa ginagawa nila. At many times, they will deny the obvious, no, which is part of their information warfare. Kasi there are many societies where information, accurate and timely information, is not being provided to citizens. No, they're being blinded for whatever reason. So doon nakakapasok yung China to dominate the information domain with their narratives. So we have all of us have to be very well aware of how China conducts its unrestricted warfare and related to events that are taking place in the Philippines, which are reported by media, and which even our top national leaders have been voicing out. You know, even during the time of President Duterte, how many diplomatic protests were fielded by the Philippine government?
Over 400.
Umabot pa ng 400. What does that indicate? That during the time of Duterte, alam na ng Philippine government na hindi mapagkatiwalaan itong China na ito. Na kung anong sinasabi nila, iba yung ginagawa. Kaya't may diplomatic protest. So, In that sense, hindi naman ako maniniwala na si Presidente
But
Duterte ay traidor. Marami nagsasabi traidor. Hindi naman. Linalaro niya lang yung China for geopolitical reasons. Pero I think the problem there is that it wasn't
But-
well played. It wasn't properly handled.
yeah, that's politics. But what about Filipinos, Filipino-Chinese who are openly supporting China and who have actually had arguments and discussions with locals regarding who's on the right and who's on the wrong? Parang the issue of patriotism.
Yeah, but well, I don't want to I don't like to make a sweeping generalization about Filipino Chinese because I know so many who are Filipinos. In fact, their forefathers left communist China because they wanted to evade communism. That's why they came here. No? But whether it is Filipino Chinese or Filipinos, it only tells you that the influence operations of China has grabbed a foothold in the landscape of Filipinos. No, doesn't matter whether they're Filipino Chinese or pure Filipinos or for that matter Tisoys. No, patriotism and beliefs have nothing to do with one's blood. It has to do with one's heart and mind. No? And it varies from person to person. Yes, I will say that there are some who have been influenced, but there are also Filipinos, including those in media, who once belonged or probably still belong to the Communist Party of the Philippines, who are connected to the United Front building efforts of China. Kasi copycat lang naman yung CPP, NDF at NPA sa Communist Party of China and the People's Liberation Army. I would consider them one and the same.
Okay, well, Secretary, I think this won't be the last conversation on the subject matter, and we will be monitoring your posts and your articles. But yes, we agree with you. At the very least, we should discuss these concerns, these possibilities, and we do hope that you keep us informed and you share your views with the public. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Secretary, and have a good day. God bless you.
Thank you for inviting me, Cito. God bless you too.
Okay, that's Secretary Raffy Alunan, former Secretary of Tourism and the DILG. And we'll go for a quick break. When we return, we go to our next guest and we shift gears. We will then be talking about cashless transactions and technology here on Agenda.
Ever heard of Filipay? This is the flagship project of Service Economy Applications Incorporated, which focuses on the development of cashless systems for private and government institutions. The goal of Filipay is to standardize the automatic fare collection system of the ongoing Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Project of the government, as well as to systematize the transaction processing flow of operators to achieve security and transparency. Transaction monitoring, although a straightforward process of collecting fare from passengers, is vulnerable to various risks. Therefore, Filipay is looking to supplement the modernization of the country's transport system, making it efficient, timely, and most especially, convenient. Let's get to know more about the company on today's agenda.
Janice Arino is the founder, president, and CEO of Filipay. In 2021, she was named to the Asia CEO Awards Entrepreneur of the Year Circle of Excellence. Arino graduated from the Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, where she earned her bachelor's in secondary education in English.
Good morning, Janice. Welcome to the program agenda.
Good morning, Sir Cito. First of all, thank you for this opportunity to be with you.
Oh, we welcome everyone, particularly people like you, young people who are trying to modernize and improve our systems and the quality of life in the country. Now, this Filipay, medyo kakaiba yung pangalan, Filipay, but it's interesting because it reminds me of these cards that we used in Japan, in Singapore, I think. Yung tatap mo lang, sakay ka na. In the Philippines, how does the Filipay system work for public transport?
Yes, sir. Since 2018, Filipay is an automated fare collection system, and we provide that solution. And we have been very active in gathering this data knowledge and onboard experience with our partner transport cooperatives and corporations. We believe that our AFCS, or the automated fare collection system, has already evolved from just a mere use of the tapping device using the NFC cell phone to industrial, fast, and reliable system performance in accordance to the national standard of the Department of Transportation. One of the protocols of our national standard for AFCS is that when we ride on the PUVs, we should tap the card with the maximum fare to be deducted to our card. And before the bus, it will calculate the correct fare based on the distance traveled, and the change will be refunded to your card upon tap out. And you may receipt from the driver. The Philippine AFCS promoted this tap in, tap out, and the cashless and kilometer-based distance traveled fare collection system, and started to use it by the riding public in Cagayan de Oro. And we also developed a cash ticketing system with the card system, which we call the hybrid system, that is based on the requirements of the transport operators while transitioning from cash transactions to card transactions later on. And for almost 6 years now, sir, we have still developing different innovations and application for the bus booking and EMV transactions, or debit and credit card transactions, the QR transactions for or QR payments for interoperability of these different payment platforms based on the actual needs of the operating fleets by the transport clients.
Okay, so who is pushing this? Is it Filipay or is it transport cooperatives? There are places in the world where it is the requirement of City Hall for mobility. Here in the Philippines, under Filipay, who pushes it? Transport operators?
Actually, sir, it is in line with the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program of the DOTR. And DOTR and LTFRB are the ones pushing this in line to have the success implementation of the public utility vehicle modernization.
Okay. Okay, and how has it been since you started? Because 6 years ago, and me, just starting this morning, akala ko card lang, tap. But you're already talking about electronic banking, you're talking already about online payments, etc. Could you tell us how has it been since you started?
Since we started, sir, there's a lot of trials and errors that we made in our system, but we recognize the pain points of our clients, and these pain points is the inspiration of the Filipay to have the successful full implementation of the Filipay AFCS in the Philippines. And with the help of our transport clients, one of which is the Pontransco, the PNROA Transport Cooperative, our first commuting made easy partner here for promoting the cashless payment system. We have the same goal for the commuters, and that is to conveniently pay the fare using the Filipay AFCS.
Okay, but who is your partner in all of this? Because I assume all of this requires cell phones, mobile payments, internet connection. Who is your partner in establishing all of this?
Yes, sir. Number one, we have the partnership with PLDT, which provides the connectivity on board and also for transmitting the data from our devices to the management dashboard for the real-time transactions. And the transport cooperatives and corporations and the government agencies under the Department of Transportation, the LTFRB, LTO, and also the Office of Transportation Cooperatives.
So you hooked up with PLDT Enterprise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and how is that looking? Because it seems that you're rapidly expanding. What are your plans in the future?
Actually, sir, our partnership with PLDT strengthens our commitment to providing the digitalization to transportation sector. The passengers can experience less hassle commuting through the technology in connectivity and the real-time transactions on board of the PUVs. Our system can also be used online and offline, but connectivity plays an important role in real-time transactions in transmitting the data to our management dashboard and the Filipay passengers application. They also provided us this easy access to the loading of cards and the application of the passengers with Maya. Really, the convenience is there, and soon it will be available for the use of the riding public. Upgraded Filipay app will be coming soon.
Okay, now you were talking about onboard data, real-time data. All of this is transmitted by PLDT to where? To the owners of or to the cooperative, so they know how much transaction is going on a daily run?
Yes, sir. They have their own, our partner clients, transport clients, have their own portal, the management dashboard, and they can check and monitor all the records real time with the amount of transactions, how many passengers on board, and how much is the total fare collections at the end of the day per vehicle.
So wala nang daya, wala nang kupit, wala nang nabubulsa or no shortchanging or underpayment, etc.
Yes, sir. That is the common problem now happening from the transport sector group, that there are a lot of pilferage and theft. So we promote transparency and protection of the investment of the government, financial institutions, and investors for this program. So it's very importance to us to use this Filipay AFCS for the transparency and also accounting of all the fare collections.
Yeah, because many of these modern many of these vehicles under the modernization program are being financed by government banks and institutions.
Yes, sir. That is correct, sir.
So when they have a record of transactions, they can tell whether the units that they are financing are actually able to make the necessary payments as agreed upon. So it's not only convenient for your riders, it's also convenient for the operators. It's less hassle for the driver, and then also for the government banks and financing institution, there is available data to determine, oh, hey, this is a good business model. We should invest in more. Now, speaking of investing in more, what about, the TNVS or yung mga mobile, cars, etc.? Are you also going to go into that area?
Yes, sir. Actually, we have the ongoing partnership with the Co-op app, one of the TNVS operators. It's different because most of our TNVS are private companies. This one is supporting the transport cooperatives, providing another mode of transportation such as Co-op Sakay, with their motorcycles and delivery system to promote the common goods of the members of the cooperatives. That's what we have now ongoing partnership with them.
So your partnership with PLDT Enterprise is not just about cashless fare, but a whole gamut of data and electronic information. So anyway, any other announcements you'd like to make, or what are your future plans? Other applications? Because I saw cards, I saw mobile phones, at your QR code. What's in store?
Yes, sir. You can expect more. We're providing the CCTV people counting as one of the flagship products that we offer with PLDT to our existing and potential clients, because it counts the passengers upon entering and also getting off the bus. It serves as our digital inspector inside the PUV. We package it with the command center that will facilitate the overall monitoring of the fleets and the safety of the passengers. This is applicable to all sizes of managing, from 10 fleets to hundreds or thousands of units, to maximize the overall fleet management system. We are expanding these overall solutions nationwide in line with the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. This is the good start to determine the correct number of passengers per route. For gathering this data, it will help the LTFRB to really determine the exact number of passengers and number of PUVs also that should be plying on the road, and if there is the need to put or add the PUVs in addition to the existing, they can determine that accurately. It's a very good start to use kind of technology in establishing and polishing the route rationalization plan per local government unit in public transport sector, and it will help to organize.
Because in the old system, you rely on the driver and the amount of money that they submit to the cooperative or the operator. In this system, you have actual CCTV of passengers, you have the passenger load, you have the payments, you have the transaction. So talaga lahat covered. And that CCTV service with PLDT Enterprise also supports public safety, because at least you have videos of people riding the public transport. So Janice, that's a very interesting presentation this morning. And we do hope that Filipay really takes off and becomes institutionalized, and may your partnership with PLDT also blossom, because we all know we need major improvement in our mass transit and public utility system here, public utility vehicle. Thank you very much, Janice, for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Sir Cito. Thank you for having me here. Thank you so much.
Okay, God bless and have a great day. Let's now go to our blessing for the week, and it comes from the book of Nehemiah chapter 8 verse 10. Then he said to them, "Go your way, eat the fat and drink sweet wine, and send portions to anyone who has nothing ready, for this day is holy to our Lord. And do not be grieved, for the joy of the Lord is your strength." Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And we would just like to remind you, be aware, be conscious of your surrounding, your community, and always keep an eye out for people who don't belong in the area, for your public safety. And also, please include us in your prayers. Thank you. God bless all of you. Keep it here on One News.